Welcome, Queen. Is your perspective hurting you in life? I did a lot of self reflecting this past week. And sometimes we can just dismiss the things that people say to us about us because we don't see us. Have you ever had someone tell you something about you that you did not believe was true? Well, if so, that's why today I'm asking the question: is your perspective hurting you in life by helping you to think yourself clear with these 10 questions? And yes, I did type them out. Some people, they prefer to reflect and just think. But when I reflect, I prefer to write. And as Dr. Daniel said, use technology for storage and your brain for creativity. So, number one, are you willing to let go of your perspective? Meaning, when you're in a conversation, when you're having a dialogue, not necessarily an argument, it could be, but it doesn't have to be. When you're brought new information, when you're brought new knowledge, and that new knowledge, that new information contradicts your original idea, your original thought, are you willing to see that new information and take it for what it is? If you say no, then here what we see is your mindset being fixed. And while it's good to sometimes have a fixed mindset, when we're presented new information that clearly shows us that, hey, maybe the way I was thinking about this wasn't necessarily right, not being open to accept that new information, that is definitely problematic. Number two, do you gaslight or use gaslighting to project your perspective onto others as though it is statements they have said to you? Now, in the Recognize Him series, I did talk about gaslighting and dating. But guess what? Just because you're not dating this person doesn't mean that you cannot use gaslighting on them, because you can. Gaslighting is just a manipulation tactic, and it is, emotionally abusive. Think about it. So they didn't say this to you, but you have taken it upon yourself to say it to them and present it to them in a way that is factual, as if it is really their thought. Now, I'm not saying that you have done that. I'm asking you to think about if you do that when you are speaking, when you are having a conversation with people. Third question, to help you think yourself clear on whether or not your perspective could possibly be hurting you in life, is this: do you use manipulation or coercion to make others do what you want them to do, or to give you the sympathy vote? In other words, do you use manipulation and coercion to make people feel sorry for you? Yeah, because if you're doing that, number one, again, we know manipulation tactics are not positive. So if we're using manipulation tactics to have others give us our way, the way that we're operating in a hurtful manner. Number four, that's where we are. Do you refuse to take accountability for where you are? Listen, we have all made mistakes. We have all, myself included, made mistakes. There is no one. I'm going to say it again. There is no one who can tell you they have never ever made any mistakes. If you find that person, let me know, because I'm going to tell you that person is a liar. The thing about it is, when we make mistakes, when we fail to do something that we know we should do, when we fail to act in a way that we should, are we willing to own those actions, those behaviors? Are we willing to be responsible, take accountability for where we are? Think about that. Because accountability, again, if you refuse to take accountability, that could be something in your life that is hurting you. Number 5, do you blame, shift your lack of responsibility, forgetfulness, or failure to do something on others? Now, you may be saying, well, how is that different from taking accountability? Because, see, when we refuse to take accountability, we're not necessarily blame shifting. We just saying, you know what, I don't own that. But when we blame shift, we actually say, you know what, not only do I not own it, it's your fault. Yeah, because of you, because you did this or because you didn't do that. That's why this happened. That's why I wasn't responsible. That's why I forgot. That's why I failed to do that. That's why I didn't say that, or that's why I didn't go there. Yeah, it's your fault. See, that's a little different from just not taking accountability. Are you doing that? When you think about your interactions, your relationships, are you doing that to people in your life? Where are we now? Number 7? No, we're on number 6. I'm sorry. Do you expect a level of kindness and respect you don't give to others when you communicate? Meaning, when you're upset, when you're frustrated, when you're disappointed, when you're feeling some type of way, do you just fly off the handle, say it however you want to say it, and then be like, well, it don't matter because I felt like this, I was going through this happened to me, you shouldn't have said that thing to me? Do you just communicate any type of way with people and then expect people to respond, to react, to treat you as though you're as sweet as pumpkin pie? Think about that. Because if you find it acceptable to just fly off the handle, to just be disrespectful in how you communicate with people, well, you know, the book of authority say what a man sows, that he should reap, that he shall reap, you know. So if you sowing that type of negative attitude, behavior, interactions, and exchanges, you might not get it back in that moment or from that particular person, but eventually that's going to come back to you. And that's not something that's going to be helpful. It's going to be hurtful. So again, or I should say, is your perspective in your life, is it hurting you? Number 7, do you refuse to see the error of your ways? Now, this question right here, I'm simply asking, do you have a pattern of behavior that you know is hurting you? It could be your attitude. It could be your thoughts. It could be the way you respond to people. Is that an issue that you face? Do you refuse to see the error of your ways? And then you repeat it over and over, maybe not with the same person, maybe with different people. You're just repeating that pattern of behavior. If so, then it's quite possible that pattern of behavior, whatever it is, whether it's being disrespectful, whether it's being dismissive, whether it's being nonchalant, whether it's giving people the silent treatment, whatever it is, it's possible that that is hurting you in your life. Number 8, do you refuse to show a humble attitude to hear the truth? Truth telling requires truth hearing. If you are not open to hearing the truth, if people try to have a crucial conversation with you and you shut down, you get an attitude, you go off, you accuse them of being judgmental when they are simply trying to explain to you that, hey, I discern some things about you that are problematic to you and for you, and in the area of relationships and building relationships is having a negative impact on your relationships, which is having a negative impact on your life. Well, if you have that issue, if you refuse to have a humble attitude about it, then to be quite frank, eventually, if you are like that with everyone that's close to you, you are alienating people from being in your life and truly bringing you valuable feedback, who are trying to help you, who care about you. So it's quite possible, if your attitude is far from humble, your perspective in your life, well, it's hurting you. Number 9, do you refuse guidance or help to help you develop in areas where you know you're not the expert, or where you are simply in need of improvement? And listen, we all have areas where we need improvement. I just told you there are no perfect people. So if there are no perfect people, there are no all-knowing people. And if there are no all-knowing people, which we know that there are not, then there is going to be an area in our lives, or I should say a number of areas, where we are not the expert, where we do not have it all figured out, where we could use some guidance and assistance, some wisdom from people who may be younger than us, but they have enough wisdom to share with us that's helpful to us, or maybe even from older people who have already been there, and so they can share with us from their life perspective on what they've been through and what they've learned. And so again, I ask you, do you refuse guidance? Do you refuse their help? Do you refuse to be open and willing to receive help in an area where you know that you could use it, but then you claim that you don't need it? And lastly, do you internally think self-hating thoughts about yourself, envy others who have a strength that you don't, or secretly try to one-up people, meaning you try to compete with people? They're not competing with you, but secretly you have a competition going on with them in your mind. Think about that. I'm going to say it again. Do you internally have self-hating thoughts, meaning you have self-hate about yourself, envy others who have a strength that you desire because you don't have it, or try to compete with others who are not competing with you at all? Now, I don't know the answers to any of those questions for you. I really don't. But what I do know is this: those 10 questions were to help you see you. Because if your mindset, attitude, words, behaviors, responses, if your actions cause others to leave you alone, create isolation, or negative outcomes in your life, then your perspective is hurting you in your life. And no one is an island. We need people. From the beginning of time, God said it was not good for man to be alone. If we look in the book, we see a number of relationships. We see how people help people. It's not to say that in every area of your life you're going to need someone to help you out. But if you think you're going to get through life without any relationships whatsoever, you won't live an optimal life, not as the King desired for you to do. And if you need help, if you want one-on-one time with me, you can book a session with me and we can work through that. Because here's the thing. Having reasons for your perspective is normal. Still, those perspectives, if they cause you to continuously live in isolation or frustration, you should consider if the problem you're standing on is what you had in mind. As always, I'm Coach Sam telling you 24 hours doesn't seem long, but in 24 hours you could change your life. So go ahead and do something life-changing now.